The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the view and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees.
Well, welcome back to Real Talk with DMJ. Today we have one of my mentors since I was 12 years old. We want to welcome today to our show the legendary Mr. Eddie Rye Jr. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I certainly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And you traveled a long way, so we're really enjoying and we're glad that you're here today. Also, we have one of our youth who I'm mentoring, teaching her the way, you know how you're supposed to leave a legacy and mentor so someone can come after you. So we have one of our youth in our community, Neiahmaya Chapman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, definitely.
Pleasure.
So, there's so many things that Mr. Eddie Rye does, but Neiahmaya said she wanted to come on the show and she had some questions about your fathering your daughter. And she goes, can I go on the show? Can I come on the show? Because I really know being fatherless and then admiring you of what you did and being one of the AXO competitions individuals last year in 2024, and then admiring your daughter and the work that she's doing. She wanted to ask you about you guiding your daughter, encouraging your daughter, supporting your daughter. So Neiahmaya, go ahead.
So my first question to you would be, how did activism and your ways of community and having that sense of community help you shape your daughter and help raise her?
First of all, you have to expose them at an early age. Angela was in her first protest when she was 3 years old.
Wow.
There's a picture of the 20th anniversary of the August 28th, 1963 March on Washington, D.C. for Jobs and Freedom. At the 20th anniversary, she was 3 years, 10 months old. There's a picture of her on my Facebook page holding a sign like, make MLK's birthday a national holiday. That was on August 28th, 63. In November 2nd, 63, Ronald Reagan signed the first King holiday bill that would go into effect the third Monday in 1986. I also took her to meetings. At first, she wasn't interested at all, like any kid would be. But then pretty soon, she started asking me questions. Mm-hmm. And I said, it'd be really good if you, at the next meeting, it's for everybody, so you can ask a question if you like. So I think, giving her the space to let her determine what she want to do. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. You can't twist a child's arm and force them into doing something. I think that if you approach it from the right way and let them see expose them to some things, explain to them some of the things that's happening on the news, explain to some of them things that's happening in the newspaper and how it will eventually affect them, I think that's the best guiding principles that I would suggest anybody would use.
Like you said, that exposure to what's going on, getting her focused on what's real and what's right for Black people, that's amazing. That's truly dedication, and that's a lot of dedication. That's amazing. And it's great to see how she still carries those values.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, she moved back to the Seattle area, but she's out of town more than she's in town. Recently, like a matter of fact, last February, her podcast with Tiffany Cross and Andrew Gillum, they were just joined recently by Bakari Sellers, but they won the NWC Image Award for their podcast, Native Land Pod. I'd encourage everybody to check it out, Native Land Pod. She's been on MSNBC, CNN, and she's an advocate,
Yeah.
She was at 29 years old, working for Homeland Security. Congressman Benny Thompson made her the senior advisor and counsel for the Homeland Security, but at 29, she was the youngest senior advisor on the Hill back at that time.
Yeah.
She'll be 46 on Sunday. So
I want you to say that, but it's all right.
Well, hey, she is what it is. I'm glad she's here doing well. So, but the most important thing is exposure.
Yeah.
You can't make a child or a young person do anything. My advice is to expose them to stuff. Explain to them why things are on the headlines. Explain to them why something is happening in the White House that should be in the outhouse.
Yes.
So, those are the things. knowing right from wrong, but also explaining to younger people exactly what the effect and impact is going to be on their total community. And that's the most important thing.
Yes.
You can't say we want everybody to be like Clarence Thomas. That would be a misnomer. We don't want that.
Yeah.
We want people to be like the late Art Fletcher, the father of affirmative action. But I want to say that Clarence Thomas got everything he got through affirmative action. It's too bad that he turned his back on affirmative action and us, but that's just the way it goes. So, but the most important thing really is to have the exposure, making sure that young people understand exactly what the issues are, how it will impact them, if not now, eventually, and to get involved. And also, when they turn 18 in Washington State, make sure they are registered to vote.
Yes.
Yes. So, and this is what you're telling our audience and everything, that we need to start with our children, exposing them at a young age.
Exactly.
Yes, at a young age. And I think that is very important, teaching them, because if we look at the other cultures and everything, they're educating their people, if you know what I'm saying. They're young people at such a young age.
Yes.
And this is why they're so successful and succeeding in the direction that their families expect them to go into them. So we need to, as people of color, need to expose our youth at a very young age. I think 3 years old is a wonderful age. You know, I mean, because they're that's their learning stage, their mimicking stage.
Yeah.
So I think, and then it shows it works. I mean, look at his daughter, Angela Rye, is doing the damn thing.
Yes.
She's mentoring. My cousin in Oklahoma City was under her mentorship program in D.C.
That's amazing.
I just learned this when I visited last month, that E was under Angela's Rye mentoring program that she had in D.C.
Well, she still has a program, even she's mentoring a lot of the young staff members in Congress. So she's mentoring them on the ethics, you know, don't answer any questions that the member of Congress should respond to, and things like that, because she's still doing that with about 25 or 30 young folks every summer.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else you'd like to go ahead and ask them?
Yes. Was there a specific moment when you realized that she was becoming who she needed to become and stepping into her power?
Well, you know, she had to honor, really, her mother has a doctorate in education, education doctorate, and her daddy has a doctorate in agitation. So when you put education and agitation together, you end up with a pretty good product, especially dealing with the issues we deal with right now, with civil rights under attack, with voting rights under attack. All the things that we got through Dr. King's work and the civil rights workers back in the 60s and the 50s is under attack right now. The Voting Rights Act of 65 came about because of the Bloody Sunday March, March 7th, 1965. You might have seen, they don't show it enough. But as a matter of fact, the Martin Luther King Commemoration Committee, we're going to start observing March 7th because that led to our 65 Voting Rights Act. That happened March 7th. On August 6th of 65, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. Same thing with the Civil Rights Act. And I want to make sure everybody understands this, and I spent the first 10 years of my life in Louisiana. The only people that rode in the back of the bus, drank out the colored water fountain, were black people. All the other people of color were honorary whites. They could eat in the restaurant, they ride in the front of the bus, they drank at the white water fountain. So I want everybody to understand that was a struggle of African descendants of the United States enslaved in this country. It wasn't all people of color. It helped all people of color, but it wasn't all people of color. It was only black folks. And that's who brought about the changes in this country.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And keep on pushing to make a difference.
Yes.
If you don't say anything, you're not going to get any changes. So, like they say in Louisiana, closed mouth don't get fed.
Yes.
So if there are some issues you need to deal with, address them. Don't run away from issues that affect you by your sex or by race. You got to stand up and speak up.
And I think
make sure you share that information with people in your circle so they're all aware of what's going on.
Yes, and I feel like that's something that a lot of our youth could use, because especially in these times where we're just getting into the voting, we're just getting our heads, spinned on to figure out what's best for our country, what's best for our future, and the pool of opinions and the pool of the political system right now that's going on, and what's stopping us from moving forward could seem like a big barrier for a lot of small-minded people. But for the people who are young and they have big minds, I feel like sticking to what's true and sticking to what's right for our country, what's right for our skin tone, that's what's going to help us come together as a nation. That's what's going to help us overcome tough times, because things like that are going on right now, suspending the SNAP benefits, that's a big stab at the poor community, and not just here in Bremerton, but all over the world. And that could deter people from wanting to step up for what's right, because it seems like we take one step up and 10 steps back every time. And
all you have to do really is look at what happened during the civil rights movement. Down south. Bull Connor was putting high school, middle school, and elementary school kids in jail. That because the parents would get fired. So the young people really took the brunt of the demonstrations and stuff like that. So I had opportunity to be friends with Julian Bond, who was one of the founders of the Student Non-Violent Coordinating Committee. He did a lot of work in the civil rights arena. And they had, like Congressman Benny Thompson was a member of SNCC as well. He was a Mississippi chair. And then Julian Bond said he had the most dangerous job in SNCC because he was registering voters in the Mississippi Delta. And both the sheriff and the Klan were looking for him. They could be the same people. So he was able to get past all that. So I'm saying, you know, change and opportunity come with risk and taking stands. And if something is wrong, you got to speak up. You can't just brush it off to the side. And also share with your colleagues to see if they're having similar experiences. And then you come together to address it.
Yeah.
But it takes one person to take the lead.
Yeah. That's all it takes is one person to make the change.
That's right.
Just stand up.
And it doesn't have to be the head HNIC. And that's the struggle that we have in our community here in Kitsap County. And that's why we're so fragmented, fractional. To the fact is that everybody wants to be the head HNIC, and we haven't gotten anywhere. And then supporting one another seems to be a hurting factor in our Black community here in Kitsap County. And this is why I take our young people and have exposed them to AXO, through the NAACP, and over to individuals that are in Seattle, so that you can see, in which Eddie has taught us from a young age when I was a freshman in high school. We are more powerful and together as one, instead of individual or, going through the back door on one another. I'm going to change it up a little bit. What we learned from Eddie, I was in 9th grade, and we had the East Side Blacks, and then we had the West Side Blacks. They had been going at each other for years. Well, Eddie Rye Jr., he heard about it, and he came over and he put us all together. He took us from Dewey Middle School, Coons Junior High School, East High School, West High School, and got us in the football field. And you did this, and we all talk about it at the barbecues. He is such a legend. We really appreciate him, and got us together and said, it's not enough of y'all here to be fighting like this. And he educated us to what was going on in the world, about the affirmative action, about being Black, about coming together, how we needed to focus to get things done. And so this is why he is so meaningful and means the world to many of us in my generation, for what he done to us to educate us on becoming as one. And we need that back again. You know what I'm saying? I think we've lost that, and we've had newcomers come here from the South, from the East Coast, from the Midwest, and everybody wants to be the head HNIC instead of coming together as one and letting one person lead and respecting that person's leadership, that know that you're representing all of us and supporting that individual or whoever's leading at that time on different issues, coming together, supporting that. And this is why I brought on Elmer Dixon, to bring us back to remembering who got us here, Who opened those doors?
Black
Whose
Panther
shoulders we're
Party.
standing
Yeah.
on? This is why I brought Eddie Rye Jr., one of our main legends for the state of Washington, who have guided us, who have taught us, done the marches, and gave us the exposure as becoming one, unifying us. We highly respect him.
Yes.
Would you like to say something on that? Yes.
No, I just think that when people agree to come together to deal with common issues and problems, but I would like to say, I'd like to have you check out the Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective. They're on every Saturday morning from 8:30 to 10:30. 50 organization over 52, 53 years old. But you're talking about members of the city council, the mayor on occasion, Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, other community leaders, park commissioners, school board members. They all come together. Lyle Quasim is a leader, a very respectful setup, and they have anywhere from 75 to 100 people online. And on the first Saturday of every month, they have an in-person meeting. It used to be in person all the time, but now we got the technology. But I would encourage everybody that want to talk about a community organization. I think what the Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective is doing could be something that could be used across the country in terms of organizing. They also have Dr. John Bassel. We call him our Surgeon General. They have medical reports. There is the Education Committee. Dr. Scott leads the Education Committee. There's also a committee that interviews all the candidates and make recommendations on the candidates. But I'd encourage everybody to check out the Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective to really see, because Seattle needs it too, but to really see how people come together and work. And they've been very, very effective.
And they have. I've attended one. Yeah, I went on your suggestion when we had spoke on the phone, and I did take the time out and go to that early morning. I went to an in-house meeting, in-person meeting.
Okay.
Yes, and he is correct. They're very, very organized, and they're very supportive. I mean, it's no sitting room, or standing room at those meetings, and they're so very much together. So I encourage everyone to go there, and we can learn from them, and we need that. My one thing I wanted to share with you, Mr. Rye, is that I find that the powers that be, and let's see the white people here that's in power, they see the fraction between us, and they take that and use that and keep us divided.
More fractions of Republicans and Democrats?
I'll say, let's go say, but yes. I mean, they see that and they look for that
they're not
token.
They're not holding up health care for people over. They don't have the government closed down.
No, correct.
Okay. They don't have people not getting paid. TSA people, air traffic controllers, if they decide we've had enough, the whole country comes to a standstill. So, I mean, we might have fractions, but boy, we have some serious fractions in the country.
Yes, correct. But my thing is that having you hearing everything, this will show us how we need to come together and we can get more things done.
Exactly.
And that's what we need. We need that so badly in our community.
Well, it could be led by the young people.
There you go. But who's teaching the young people? Who are we bringing up behind us as leaders? Passing the baton, and I strongly believe in that. Everything that I do, I have young people behind me. Teaching them, oh yes, encouraging them, bringing awareness, educating them. And that's what I do on my part as, one of the elders, in the community and one of the leaders. But I wanted them to also, for you to share your work and things that you've done over your journey of time, your timeline, all the way from Jimi Hendrix, all the way from the the parades.
We don't have parades, we have marches.
Okay, marches. I'm sorry. I remember why I say that because I did march in the Martin Luther King parade with my drill team. Back in the day I did. But during your marches, your protests, I'd like you to share that, with my viewers.
Well, I got a lot of that from my father, who was designated by A. Philip Randolph in 1948 to be a Northwest organizer for the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, the only union that a black man could belong to. Even women couldn't join unions back in those days. And so he got, as an organizer, he came to Seattle in 48. The family moved here in 52. When I was 18, after my first year of college, I joined the military, the National Guard medical unit, went to Fort Ord. They wanted me to go to Officers Candidate School, which was in Georgia. I said no. But anyway, I got off the plane with my military uniform. I was going to drink a water in the airport in San Antonio. White guy said, "Hey, boy, that uniform don't make you white." So that was our first bit. And then working with the folks like Tyree Scott to get blacks in the building trade unions. That was in the 60s through the 70s. In 72, under the leadership of Dr. Rosalind Woodhouse, who was executive director of the Central Area Motivation Program, she assigned me to work with the Central Seattle Community Council Federation. And we dropped the first report on redlining in December of 1973. And we did things like invite the bankers there, put their name up. They didn't show up. There was an empty chair with their name. We painted a red line around Bank of America, downtown Seattle. President Gerald Ford sent Carla Hills, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, out to meet with us. It didn't go anywhere. I was also involved with, as you mentioned, changing the name of Martin Luther King. We started that in 1980 while I was hosting a radio program on KYAC Radio, which was on 3rd Avenue, downtown Seattle. And the late Freddie Mae Gaucher brought Reverend Jackson in for an interview, and we was talking about monuments for Dr. King all across the country. So we had access to the airwaves until they sold the station. And so we were able to get the black firefighters, Seattle black firefighters and others, start a petition drive. It took us from 1980, first hearing in 81, in August 82, Mayor Charles Royer, reluctantly, we laid it off, but he was really opposed to it, signed the authorization that the legislation that the county council had promulgated. And the very next week, some merchants filed a lawsuit, which means that the signs didn't go up. So anyway, in November 2nd, 83, is when Ronald Reagan signed the King Holiday Bill. 4 weeks after that, November 30th, 83, the Washington State Supreme Court ruled the city of Seattle had the authority to change the name of Empire Way to Martin Luther King Jr. Way. Then we found out a guy by the name of Bob Morgan, who worked with the late Councilman George Benson, said, "Eddie, they don't want to do it because Empire Way is State Highway 900. If you change that, they have to put MLK things up on the freeway." So, a lot of that, like people say, "Oh, it's going to cost us to it." You got a secondhand store, a gas station, a pizza place, and you're going to talk about how much your letterhead costs? Come on. But anyway, we got that done. Right before the first King holiday in 86, Ron Sims and Councilmember Bruce Lang signed a proclamation saying that we proclaim this to be Martin Luther King County. So in 1999, at the Martin King event, I said, Larry Gossett was the chair on the county council. I said, it's been 13 years and there's no evidence this is Martin Luther King Jr. County. Senator Adam Klein introduced legislation 8 times before it passed. And finally in 2015, Governor Christine Gregoire came up to the Martin Luther King Jr. courthouse and signed the legislation. Then it took us another year to get the logo because some right-wing members on the county council want to use a picture of the county courthouse as official logo. And I said, "Ma'am, the county courthouse looks like Martin Luther King Jr." So anyway, it took us a long time to get it done.
I think it was something behind
that. That's the official. Well, they didn't want to have a black man's face to represent the county. Right now, we have some folks to the far right are talking about Martin Luther King. He shouldn't have a holiday. He shouldn't have this. And then who do we have for president? Come on, man. But so those are some of the things I've done. I've been hosting radio, Urban Forum Northwest for like the last 10 years on the 1150 MKKNW. It's also heard 2 hours after the live broadcast on Alexa, on Spotify, my website, and repeats Saturday morning 7 to 8, and then Mondays 3 to 4 p.m. I'll record today. It'll be on Thursday 2 to 3. So that's just a little snapshot, but I've been involved with a lot of protests where I was a follower, wasn't a leader, I wasn't a construction worker, but when there are no blacks in the building trades unions, we had no problems but to deal with that, which we did, and it's still not satisfactory right now. Then, the other thing that happened is that Washington State did not have affirmative action for 24 years. Governor Gary Locke signed a governor's directive in December 3rd, 1998, killing affirmative action in all state institutions. I-200 didn't kill affirmative action. It opened the door, but Governor Gary Locke killed it. Finally, in 2022, January 2022, former state representative Jesse Weinberry put together an executive order for Governor Jay Inslee to sign. So he signed it, restoring affirmative action. But at the end of the year, African Americans received 0.34%. So we really didn't go, well, actually 0.22. Last year, according to Lika Fernandez, the director of Office of Minority Women Business Enterprise, last year we just did 0.34. We're not participating in the tax base and the funds that we're creating. We're not getting our share back.
You know something? We're going to stop right there, and then we're going to come back because we need to learn more from Mr. Eddie Rye Jr. Once again, I want to say thank you for being on our show today, and you have so much to share. So we're going to bring you back to continue this conversation and make us aware of what's going on.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And thank you, Neiahmaya.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me ask those questions as well, giving me some insight.
Okay, well, I hope that you take it and run with it because
I am.
you're the leader. So
I am.
Thank you for watching Real Talk with DMJ.